Hi, I'm Ken Munshine, and I want to talk to you today about cargo cults, and specifically cargo cults and HEMA, historical European martial arts. I'm going to begin by telling you a story. After World War II, anthropologists started noticing strange religious phenomena happening in certain South Seas islands. You see, during the war, American soldiers had come to these previously uncontacted, materially poor native peoples, and they started building airports. Of course, this was all part of the larger American Pacific campaign. The result for these peoples was unprecedented in all their knowledge and their history. They started having material wealth like they'd never had before. Tarpaulins, spam, cloth, metal tools coming to them. In other words, what they called cargo. Well, the war ended, and after that, the cargo disappeared with the American troops. So, what they started doing is they started emulating the American troops. They started kind of Gilligan's Island style, building airports and control towers and radios out of palm fronds and coconuts and things like that. And this was something that they thought would bring back the airplanes and bring back the cargo and bring back that material wealth. What operated on, though, is something that's very, very common to all human thinking. This idea of sympathetic magic, that like influences like. That the thing that brought the airplanes wasn't some geopolitical struggle on a larger scale that they can understand, right? They didn't understand the principles behind it. It was the American troops wearing uniforms and marching with rifles, and if they did the same things, if they made rifles out of wood, and they made control towers, and they talked on radios, however they made them, of course they didn't understand how radios worked, well then, they would bring back the airplanes. Unfortunately, a lot of HEMA works the same way. People are looking at the books, they figure, oh, I look at the manuals, and if it looks like the manuals, if I do what the manuals tell me to do, then I will be doing the thing. In other words, they're concentrating on the phenomenon, on the visible, rather than the nomenon, the theory behind it. And that's the thing, is that fencing is physics. And as physics, it cannot have changed. It has always been about distance and time and blade leverage and certain elements of psychology. And that's something that really, really cannot change. This is why it's important to understand the core principles behind these things, not just techniques, right? Not just, oh, this thing is happening, so I'm going to do this thing, or I'm going to try to do this technique, not understanding what makes that technique work, whether it's a moment in time, or a certain sort of blade leverage, or something like that. No. And of course, then people just get frustrated, because they're trying to see, to use another metaphor, the elephant. But one person says, well, this thing feels like the trunk, it must be the trunk. Or the tail is exactly like the trunk, right? They're both long, they come off one end of the elephant, and there's an orifice right there. So, of course, the tail is like the trunk. And it doesn't work that way. That's not how elephants work, and that's not how fencing works. What you need to do is perhaps take an advanced course in elephantology. Or maybe, to put it another way, maybe learn something about vertebrate anatomy. And this is one of the benefits, of course, of studying modern fencing, which I'm going to handle in my next video.